Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Maths Equation. In this video, we are going to discuss practice set number 2.1. So, let's start. In this practice set number 2.1, first question is that identify with a reason whether the following are Pythagorean triplet or not. So, let's find out whether the given three numbers are Pythagorean triplet or not. So the first, let's discuss the first example. Okay, these are the two examples on the board. The first one is three numbers are given 3, 5 and 4. And look at the second one 4, 9 and 12. So let's discuss first example whether these given three numbers are Pythagorean triplet or not. Now to find out whether given three numbers are the Pythagorean triplet or not, we have to take the square of the largest number first of all. If square of the largest number is equal to the sum of the squares of remaining two numbers, then these three numbers will be a Pythagorean triplet. Or if square of the largest number is not equal to the sum of the squares of remaining two numbers, then these three numbers will not be Pythagorean triplet. So let's check out whether given three numbers are Pythagorean triplet or not. So in an answer we can write here. Now which is the largest number? Now this is 5 is the largest number. So 5 whole square is equal to 25. Okay. Now that means largest number is 5. So the square of that 5 is 25 as we know that. And therefore now which are the remaining two numbers 3 and 4. So 3 whole square plus 4 whole square is equal to, now 3 square, that means 9 plus 16 now is equal to 25. Look at this. That means square of the largest number is equal to the sum of the squares of remaining two numbers. Here is a 25, again 25. So therefore we can write here square of this 5 is equal to sum of the squares of remaining two numbers, like this. Okay, so we can write that in a words also. With the star we will write the square of largest number is equal to the sum of the squares of remaining two numbers. Okay, look at this. So the square of the largest number is equal to the sum of the squares of remaining two numbers. So let's write down that answer in word here. So this answer will be 3, 4 and 5 is a Pythagorean triplet. Okay, in this way easily we can find out whether given three numbers are the Pythagorean triplet or not. Only condition is that square of the largest number should equal to the sum of the squares of remaining two numbers. Okay, so let's check out in case of these three numbers. So which is the largest number here? Now here it is, 12 is the largest number, and we know that square of that 12 is 144. Okay, therefore 4 square plus, that means square of the remaining two numbers. So this will be again 9 whole square is equal to 16 plus 81. Okay, so that answer will be, this will be 97 now. Okay, 97. Now if it is a 97, look at this. This one is the 97. That means sum of the squares of remaining two number is 97, and square of the largest number is 144. Okay, so therefore we can write here square of the largest number is not equal to, look at this, here is equal, but in case of that is not equal to the sum of the squares of remaining two number. Okay, that means square of the 12 is not equal to the sum of the squares of these two number. Okay, so therefore that answer will be the square of largest number is not equal to the sum of the squares of remaining two numbers. In case of this, sum of square of the largest number is not equal to the sum of the squares of remaining two numbers. Therefore, we can write that answer that 4, 9, 12 is not a Pythagorean triplet. These three numbers are not Pythagorean triplet. Now this is the answer. How simple is this to find out whether given three numbers are Pythagorean triplet or not? That means if the three numbers are Pythagorean triplet, you can write that answer like this way. Again, if that three numbers are not Pythagorean triplet, you have to check like this way also. How simple is this? So let's move toward the next question. Okay, now this is third sub question from the question number 1, in which three numbers are given 5, 12 and 13. So let's check out whether these three numbers are Pythagorean triplet or not. So for that purpose we have to take the largest one first of all. Okay, so that largest one is a 13 whole square is equal to 169. Okay, square of that 13 is 169. Then therefore square of the remaining two numbers, that means 5 whole square plus 12 whole square is equal to 25 plus 144, and that sum is also 169. Okay, that means look at this, square of the largest number is equal to the sum of the squares of remaining two numbers. So therefore we can write here 12 whole square is equal to 5 whole square plus not 12 here, this is 13 whole square is equal to the 5 whole square plus 12 whole square. So this is the condition. Okay, so if square of the largest number is equal to the sum of the squares of remaining two numbers, therefore we can say here the square of largest number is equal to the sum of squares of remaining two numbers. Okay, the square of the largest number is equal to the sum of the squares of remaining two numbers. Therefore, we can say this 5, 12 and 13 is a Pythagorean triplet. Pythagorean triplet. Okay, so that box should be here. This is the answer. Okay, in this way easily we can find out the whether these three numbers are Pythagorean triplet or not. So let's check out this one now. Okay, so which is the largest number here? 74. So 74 whole square is equal to, now square of this 74 is 5476. Okay, you have to remember these squares, or you can multiply that 74 into 74, you will easily get that answer. So let's check out whether the sum of these two is same or not. So therefore with the star we will write here 24 whole square plus 70 whole square is equal to, now this is 576 plus 4900. Look at this. Square of the 24 is 576 plus square of the 70 is 4900. So that total will be again 5000. Look at this, sum of these two 5476. Both are equal now here. So therefore we can say here 74 whole square is equal to the sum of the squares of remaining two numbers. And which are the remaining two numbers? 24 and 70. Okay, so therefore we can say here the square of largest number is equal to the sum of the squares of remaining two numbers. Okay, so therefore what will be the answer? Given numbers are Pythagorean triplet. 24, 70 and 74 is a Pythagorean triplet. Okay, now this is the answer with the, okay, then in this way easily. Now in this case both are Pythagorean triplets, third and fourth, these three numbers are Pythagorean triplet. So let's check out the next one whether that three numbers are Pythagorean triplet or not. Okay, these two are the fifth and sixth sub question from the question number 1. Again we have to find out whether these three numbers are Pythagorean triplet or not. So let's check out like the previous one. So this one 10, 24 and 27. So this will be 27 whole square is equal to, now this will be 729. Okay, now square of the 27 is how much? 729. Now let's check out this sum of the squares of remaining two number. So this will be 10 whole square plus 24 whole square is equal to 100 plus 576 is equal to 676. Sum of these two will be 676 and both are not equal to each other. So here it is, therefore we can say that square of the largest number is not equal to the sum of the squares of remaining two number, like this. Okay, and if such a type of the condition is there, we will write that in a word also. So the square of largest number is not equal to the sum of the squares of remaining two numbers. Sum of the squares of remaining two numbers. Okay. So therefore we can say, with the star we will write that answer here. These numbers, which numbers? 10, 24 and 27, okay, is not a Pythagorean triplet. How simple is this? Okay. So in this way, easily we can find out whether given three numbers are Pythagorean triplet or not. So let's check out with the last example. So here it is. Which is the largest number? So this will be, this is 61 whole square. Okay. And we know that 61 whole square, that means 3721. Okay. Now this is the square of 61. So let's check out the sum of the squares of remaining two numbers. So this will be 11 whole square plus 60 whole square is equal to, now square of this 11 is 121 plus 3600, and that sum will be again, look at that, 3721. Now both are equal here again. So that will be like this. Next step is 61 whole square is equal to the 11 whole square plus 60 whole square, sum of the remaining two number. Okay. Square of the largest number is equal to the sum of the squares of remaining two number. Again, like this we will write here. So this will be the square of largest number is equal to the sum of the squares of remaining two number. Okay. Therefore, that answer will be what? This will be 11, 60, 61 is a Pythagorean triplet. Okay. How simple is this? So easily we can complete this question number 1, in which we have to just find out whether the given three numbers are Pythagorean triplet or not. How simple is this? So let's move toward the next example. So this is question number 2 from practice set number 2.1. Now what is there in a question? Now in a triangle MNP, this angle MNP is 90 degree. Look at this sign over here. This is 90 degree. And this segment NQ perpendicular hypotenuse. Look at this, MP, segment MP is the hypotenuse of this triangle MNP. And this is perpendicular to the hypotenuse. And as you, if you can remember, whenever this altitude is perpendicular or this segment NQ is perpendicular to the hypotenuse, then this hypotenuse is divided in two segments like this. At that time we have to use which theorem? Can you remember? So this is the geometric mean theorem. Okay. So what is there in the geometric mean theorem? So if we draw that perpendicular to the hypotenuse from the opposite vertex, that means this is the opposite vertex, which is a angle n is equal to 90 degree. Then this perpendicular is the geometric mean of those segments into which hypotenuse is divided. Now this is the geometric mean theorem. So let's check out, and question is that if this MQ is equal to 9, QP is equal to 4, then how much is the NQ? So let's find out that NQ by using geometric mean theorem. So we can write here, in a triangle MNP, angle MNP is equal to 90 degree. Look at this. Angle MNP is equal to how much? 90 degree. And if this angle MNP is equal to 90 degree, and one more thing is given, and segment NQ perpendicular hypotenuse. So which is a hypotenuse? That MP. You can write here a segment also. Okay. So segment NQ perpendicular hypotenuse MP. So therefore, by the theorem of geometric mean, if you want to know what is that geometric mean, then similarity in a right angle triangle, Pythagoras theorem, then you can click over that I button, you will get that video there. Okay, so geometric mean theorem, let's use that geometric mean theorem. What is that? So NQ square, we can write here NQ square, if you can remember, square of this perpendicular is equal to the product of these two segments, that means MQ into QP, like that. Now this is the geometric mean. So here it is. Let's put down the values then. MQ is 9 into 4. So NQ square is equal to 36. Okay, 9 4s are 36. How simple is this? So let's take the square root of both sides. So square root of this LHS will be NQ is equal to 6 unit. Okay, in this way easily we can find out that NQ by using geometric mean theorem. How simple is this? So let's move toward the next question. So this is question number 3 from the practice set number 2.1. Now what is there in question number 3? Look at this. Triangle PQR is given, and in this triangle PQR, angle QPR is equal to 90 degree. Look at this sign over there. Okay. And if this one is the 90 degree, then side opposite to this 90 degree, that means QR will be the hypotenuse. Done. And this segment PM perpendicular hypotenuse QR. If this is the altitude and this one is the hypotenuse, then again we have to use the geometric mean theorem. Okay. So this length, height of this PM is 10. QM is equal to 8. Then question is that how much is the QR? We have to find out total QR here. And these 3 points are collinear, mind well. Q, M and R. These 3 points are collinear. Similarly, nothing different here. We can use that geometric mean theorem here. So again we will write, in a triangle PQR, angle QPR is equal to 90 degree. Okay, this is given. Okay, QPR is equal to 90 degree, and what segment PM perpendicular hypotenuse. Now which is hypotenuse? QR. QR is the hypotenuse. So therefore again we can write here, by the theorem of geometric mean, So what will be that theorem? So that PM square, look at this, PM square is equal to QM into MR. Okay, how look at this, PM square is equal to QM into MR. So let's put down the values here. So this will be QM is equal to, sorry, this PM is given, so we can write here PM, that is a 10 whole square, is equal to 8. QM is given, that is 8, into MR as it is. So square of this 10 is 100. So we can write here 100 is equal to 8 into MR. Okay. Now to find out this MR, transfer this 8 to the LHS of the equation. So this will be 100 upon 8 is equal to MR. So divide this 100 by 8. So 8 ones are 8. So this will be again 8 ones are 8. So 10 minus 8, that will be a 2. Look at here, 2 is here. And this 0 as it is. So again we got here 20. Okay. So 8 2s are 16. So this 20 minus 16, we got here the 4. Now we can't divide this 4 by 8. So take that 0 here. Okay. So it will become 40. So we have to put here decimal point. So 8 5s are 40. And that, okay, here it is 0 now. So that answer is MR is equal to 12.5 unit. But mind well, question is not like this to find out that MR. Okay, question is that find out QR. And mind well, this is given that point Q, M and R, these 3 points are collinear. So we can write here, if Q, M and R, these 3 points are collinear, therefore we can say that QR is equal to QM plus MR. Okay, so we can call this equation number 1. Here it is, MR is equal to 12.5. So let's put down that value over here. Okay, QM is given 8 plus 12.5, and just write down that reason from equation first. We took that 12.5 from the equation first, and that sum of these two will be, that means QR is equal to that 8 plus 12.5, that means 20.5 unit. How simple is this to find out the QR by using geometric mean theorem. Okay, so let's move toward the next question. So this is question number 4 from the practice set number 2.1. Now in which again one triangle is given. Look at this triangle PSR, in which this angle S is equal to 90 degree. And the question is that find out this PS and RP by using information given in a figure. So what information is given? This SR is equal to 6. Angle P is equal to 30, and we don't know how much is the angle R. So we have to use here theorem 30 degree, 60 degree, 90 degree triangle theorem. Okay, so how to use that theorem? Let's find out that answer here with the help of that theorem. So in a triangle PSR, mind well, this triangle, it's not given that this triangle is a 30, 60 degree, 90 degree triangle. We have to prove that first of all. So in a triangle PSR, angle P is equal to 30 degree. Look at that. Angle P is already given, that is 30 degree. Okay. Angle S is equal to 90 degree, and both things are given. Okay. Therefore, we can say that angle R is equal to 60 degree, and that reason is very important. Measure of remaining angle. Look at this. We know that angle sum property, that sum of all these three will be 180 degree. If this one is 90, this one is 30. So obviously this angle R will be a 60 degree. And if it is a 60 degree, therefore we can say that by the theorem of by the theorem of 30 degree, 60 degree, 90 degree triangle. Now what is that theorem? 30, 60, 90 degree triangle theorem. Now theorem is that in a triangle of a measure 30 degree, 60 degree and 90 degree, side opposite to 30 degree. Look at this. This is 30 degree and SR is the opposite side of that 30 degree. Side opposite to 30 degree is half the hypotenuse. Okay. Now who is the hypotenuse? This PR is the hypotenuse, and this SR will be the half of this PR. And not only this much, side opposite to 60 degree. So which is, here is the angle 60 degree. Okay. So opposite side is this one, PS. Okay. Side opposite to 60 degree is root 3 upon 2 times. Look at this. Root 3 upon 2 times the hypotenuse. Now this is the 30, 60, 90 degree triangle theorem. That in that triangle, side opposite to 30 degree is half the hypotenuse, and side opposite to 60 degree is root 3 upon 2 times the hypotenuse. So this is the 30, 60, 90 degree triangle theorem. So let's use that theorem here. So side opposite to 30 degree is already given. So with the star we can write here SR is equal to, and this SR will be half into PR. PR or RP. In that example they said that RP, so we can write here RP. Okay. And just write down that reason here. Opposite side of 30 degree. Opposite side of 30 degree. And that will be half of the hypotenuse. RP is the hypotenuse. So let's put down the values. SR is given 6 is equal to 1 upon 2 into RP. So transfer this 2 to the LHS. So this will be a 6 into 2 is equal to RP. So therefore that RP is equal to 12. Look at this, equation number first. Okay, we got that hypotenuse here now. So let's check out how much is the PS now, and that PS is opposite side of the 60 degree, mind you. So that PS is equal to, and we know that side opposite to 60 degree is root 3 upon 2 times the hypotenuse, and who is the hypotenuse? RP is the hypotenuse. So again we can write that reason here. Opposite side of 60 degree, opposite side of 60 degree. So let's put down the values over there again. So this will be root 3 upon 2 into 12, and from where we got that 12, from which equation? Look at this, equation number first. So we can write here from equation first. So simplify this one, 2 ones are 2, 2 6 are 12. So therefore PS is equal to, so root 3 into 6, that means 6 root 3 unit, like this. How simple is this? to find out the given segment was RP and PS by using 30 degree, 60 degree, 90 degree triangle. Okay, so let's move toward the next question. So this is question number 5 from the practice set number 2.1. Now what is the question? To find out AB and BC. Okay, now what is given there? This AB is congruent with BC, and to find out this AB and BC, look at here, AB and BC, complete the activity by using the information given in the figure. Okay, so let's complete that activity. Mind well, in this example we have to use the theorem of a triangle 45 degree, 45 degree, 90 degree. Okay, so what is that theorem? First of all, if given triangle, measures of the given triangle are 45 degree, 45 degree, 90 degree, then suppose like this, look at this. Okay, this is triangle, suppose ABC, same triangle we will use here. Okay, and in this triangle, suppose angle B is equal to 90 degree, A is equal to suppose 45 degree, and this is also 45 degree. As we discussed n number of times, we must know how to find the answer. Okay, then we can complete that activity. Now look at this. In a 45 degree, 45 degree, 90 degree triangle, side opposite to 45 degree. So which two sides are here? Look at this. If these two angles are congruent, that means opposite side of that congruent angles are also congruent. That means opposite side of this angle A is BC, opposite side of that angle C is AB. And if these two, angle A and angle C, are congruent, that means side AB and BC will be also congruent. So these two sides are, look at this, AB and BC. Side opposite to 45 degree is 1 upon root 2 times the hypotenuse. Now this is the theorem. In a 45 degree, 45 degree, 90 degree triangle, side opposite to 45 degree is 1 upon root 2 times the hypotenuse, and we have to use this theorem to complete this activity. Done? So let's complete that activity. So look at here, in a triangle ABC, same triangle is here. Okay, now this hypotenuse is given root 8. This is already given AB and BC, both are congruent to each other. And if these sides are congruent, then opposite angles are also congruent. Mind well, this angle C and angle A will be a congruent, because opposite sides of these two angles are congruent. If sides are congruent, then opposite angles are also congruent. So if these two angles are congruent, now one more thing, angle sum property of a triangle is what? Sum of these three be 180 degree. Now this is 90 degree, that means sum of these two angle will be a 90 degree. Okay, and if sum of these two angle is a 90 degree and both are congruent to each other, that means this angle definitely will be 45 degree. This is also 45 degree. Done. So now this is a 45 degree, 45 degree, 90 degree triangle. Now we can easily complete this activity. Look at this. AB is equal to BC, and this is given. So we can write in this box given. Okay, first one is over. And look at this angle BAC, BAC, and that angle is 45 degree. Okay, if that angle is 45 degree, then this one is also 45 degree. We already discussed. And side opposite to 45 degree, look at the both side AB and BC. These are the side opposite to 45 degree, and that side will be 1 upon root 2 times the hypotenuse. Okay, 1 upon root 2 times the hypotenuse. So let's put down that values here. AC is equal to root 8, which is given here, and so write down this one as it is here, 1 upon root 2. Okay, so the next step is here again will be 1 upon root 2 here. But one step, how it comes to root 2? So let me show you that step which is not here in the activity. So this will be like that, 1 upon root 2 into, so look at this, root 8, we have to find the two factors of this 8 such that we can easily take the square root of one of them. So we can write here, this is 4 into 2, look at this, 4 2s are 8. Now we can take the square root of this 4, and the square root of the 4 is 2, which is here. Then, so let's divide this one. So let me show this division over here. 1 upon root 2 into 2 root 2. Look at this. So root 2 ones are root 2, root 2 ones are root 2, like this here. So which are the remaining things? 2 ones are 2. Okay, this is the answer. Easily we can complete this activity by using 45-degree, 45-degree, 90-degree triangle theorem. How simple is this? Okay, so this much is enough in this video. If you like this video, share it and subscribe my channel Maths Equation.